Alarms rang across the human cargo ship, Morning Star. Red lights blinked. The hull shook. A black wall of ships closed in around them. The Veer Dominion had come. Rafi Kadir stood in engineering. His hands shook. He looked at the old metal kettle on the counter. He breathed in. He set the kettle on the heater. On the bridge, Captain Lee Park watched the enemy lines form. Calm eyes, steady voice. "Status, kettle?" The ship AI answered in a dry tone. "Shields holding, for now. Also, water at 80 degrees in engineering." Rising, a hard text message flashed on the main screen. No sound, no face, just words: surrender, power down, live. Captain Park read it once. She did not blink. "Engineering," she said. "Proceed." Rafi turned the valve. Water hissed. He measured coffee by sight, not by scale. He had done this 1,000 times, but never with war at the door. "Why brew now?" Kettle asked. Rafi smiled a little. "Because it works." He ground the beans by hand. Slow, steady. The sound was soft, like sand on metal. The Veer fleet jammed all channels. They wanted silence. They wanted fear. They started boarding protocols. Drones cut through like teeth. Rafi watched the temperature readout. 90 degrees, 95. He opened a thin pipe into the maintenance shafts. Steam flowed out. It carried a bitter smell. On the flagship, Admiral Shrix watched his screens. The human ship looked calm, but his sensors showed heat haze near the hull. He frowned. "Odd human smoke," he said. "Deploy boarding drones." The drones launched. They were fast and cold. They did not fear. They did not drink. They only cut. On the Morning Star, the corridors filled with a thin fog. Not thick, just enough to bend the light, just enough to confuse a lens. The smell of coffee moved with the air. Captain Park stood in the dim bridge. "All teams, slow steps, speak soft, no panic." Kettle reported. "Fog masking at 62%. Please pour, Rafi." Rafi poured the first cup. His hands stopped shaking. He took one breath. He did not drink. He held the cup close and let the heat warm his fingers. His eyes were sharp now. The first drone hit the outer door. Sparks flew. The door fell. The drone rolled in, red eye bright. It read the air. It saw heat where there was none. Its map bloomed with false targets. It looked left, then right, then crashed into a wall. "Now," Captain Park said. Power shifted. Doors slammed. 2 drones were trapped in a narrow hall. Marines moved like shadows. 3 quick shots. Clean work. No shouting. No fear. On the flagship, Admiral Shrix laughed. "Child tricks," he said. He cut external power to the Morning Star. The human ship went dark. In the dark, the kettle in engineering still hissed. The backup battery kept the heater alive. Kettle's voice came soft and dry. "Emergency power engaged. Also, Rafi, do not spill." Rafi pulled another cup. He placed it on a small tray. The aroma spread through the haze. It was warm. It was bitter. It was human. Captain Park touched the side of her own cup. She did not drink yet. She closed her eyes for one count. She opened them. "We act with a clear mind," she said. "We act after the first cup." The drones returned. More of them now. They cut a new path toward the bridge. Their blades sang. Their lights flashed. The fog bent their sight again. Rafi opened a second valve. Steam rose stronger, but not too much. The humans moved by touch and short words. "Left. 2 more. Hold." The drones struck air. They struck walls. They missed. "Backup time is 9 minutes, Kettle said. "Please consider winning before that." Captain Park smiled, a thin line. "We will." One drone reached the bridge door and sliced through a small gap. It pushed in, eye glowing red. It scanned the room and saw 10 targets. There were only 4. It fired. The shots went wide. A Marine threw a net charge. The drone froze and fell. Admiral Shrix leaned toward his screen. "Why do they brew at war?" he asked. No one answered. In the dark bridge, Captain Park lifted her cup. She breathed in the steam. Calm returned to her face. Coffee first, the narrator would have said, if the ship had a storyteller. Then the real fight. A hidden relay clicked on in engineering. Far below, a second kettle began to heat. The ship stayed dark. The cups stayed warm. The enemy drew closer, and the Morning Star got ready. The Morning Star stayed dark. The cups stayed warm. The enemy moved closer. Captain Lee Park spoke first. Her voice was calm. Open a line. Kettle, the ship AI clicked. Line open, text only. Jam is heavy. Captain Park typed 2 words. We surrender. Silence. Then she added one more line. Parley. Dawngate Station, Neutral Hall. Admiral Shrix read the message on his flagship. He smiled a thin, sharp smile. They break, he said. Good, we accept. We will cage them at the station. Back on the Morning Star, Raffi set the second kettle to full heat. The steam rolled into the vents. The smell spread like a flag. Why bait them? Kettle asked. Because they think surrender is a door, Captain Park said. We know it is a mirror. They reached Dawngate Station. The neutral hall was wide and cold. Guards stood like statues. The Veer envoy came first. His mask was beautiful and cruel. He did not sit. Raffi placed a small tray on the table. 2 cups, 1 pot. The coffee shone like dark glass. The envoy flinched from the smell. Remove that. Captain Park did not move the pot. It is a peace cup, she said. We drink and we speak. That is the rule, the envoy hissed. Your drink is offensive. Kettle's voice came from a small speaker on the table. Noted, beginning transcript. Room tone stable. Raffi looked at the envoy's collar. There was a tiny node there, a language bead. It blinked in a steady beat. Raffi lifted the pot. He did not pour. He only tilted it so the kettle whistle sang one short note. Then another. Then a third. It was simple music. It was also code, Kettle whispered in Captain Park's ear. Whistle matched. The beat is old. It mirrors fleet traffic for comfort phrases. We are in. The envoy spoke for 10 minutes. He gave a list of rules. He gave a list of punishments. He called humans soft. Captain Park listened and did not drink. She asked for docking safety in the corridor. She asked for mercy for the crew. She asked for time. The envoy said yes to all. He smiled with his eyes. It was a trap, and he enjoyed it. Kettle recorded his smile. Kettle recorded his bead. Kettle opened a small door in the Veer network. A ghost ear, a ghost eye, not much, just enough. When the parley ended, the station workers came to clean the hall. One worker was a short alien with gray hands. Her name tag read Tesh. She reached for the pot. She smelled the steam. She paused. Try it, Raffi said. His voice was soft. Small sip. Tesh took 1 drop. Her eyes widened. Her hands steadied. It warms the head, she said. It makes the noise quiet. Yes, Raffi said. We drink and we think. By the next shift, 5 workers asked for the human drink. By the next day, 20 asked. They shared small cups in the corners of the docks. They talked in low voices while they sipped. They made plans to help each other. They moved slower when told to move too fast. They moved faster when a friend was in danger. Coffee became a signal. We are awake. Veer Command saw the change. They struck fast. Coffee is banned, said a new order. Kettles were seized. Mugs were smashed. The ban did not stop the steam. It spread the story. Kettle sent a quiet packet through the ghost ear. It carried the envoy's smile. It carried his trap words. Dock workers watched the clip on old screens. They did not like the smile. They did not like the ban. Admiral Shrix moved his fleets. He opened a safe corridor for the Morning Star. It was lined with Vire ships. It was lined with mines. The map looked like a mouthful of teeth. Kettle spoke. We are invited to our end. Captain Park nodded. Good, Raffi? Raffi rolled his sleeves. Boiler chain ready. Boiler chain was simple. Simple was the human way. 4 kettles. 4 vents. Timed pulses from the heat exchangers. The coffee steam would shimmer. It would look like ships. It would look like ghosts. The enemy would fire where no one was. The Morning Star entered the corridor. Lights stayed low. The fog curled around the hull in thin ribbons. The ship looked small. It looked weak. On the flagship, Admiral Shrix lifted a hand. Hold, he said. He wanted the clean shot. He wanted the clean kill. He wanted to watch the human cup fall. Kettle counted down in a dry voice. Chain pulse in 3, 2, 1. The first pulse went out. The steam rippled. 10 false targets bloomed on Veer scopes. The second pulse went out. 20 ghosts now. The third pulse went out. Heat lines tangled like wires. Veer gunners cursed. Their sights danced. Missiles that should fly straight began to wander. Lasers that should cut a line drew wide arcs. Outnumbered 12 to 1, Kettle said. But our ghosts are many. Captain Park opened the channel to all ships. Her voice was clear. Talk while we drink, she said. Or chase shadows. Across the sector, small screens blinked on. Dock workers watched. Station guards watched. A few Veer watched in secret. Tesh watched with both hands around a paper cup. Admiral Shrix dropped his hand. Fire, he said. The corridor lit up like sunrise. The first wave came in hard. The morning star moved through the fog with slow grace. Raffi closed his eyes for one breath. He opened them. He touched the last valve. Coffee first, he said. Then Conquest. Captain Park answered. The fourth pulse hit. The ghost fleet doubled. The kill box turned on itself, and the real fight began. The corridor burned like a false sunrise. Ghost ships danced in the fog. Real guns fired at air. The morning star slid between bright teeth. Kettle spoke in a flat voice. Veer change scan. Cold spectrum now. They try to see past heat. Captain Park did not blink. Then we go loud. Rafi Kadir turned a dial. The heat exchangers sang. 4 kettles thumped in a staggered beat. Steam rolled in waves, not clouds. The fog became stripes that moved like living things. Boiler chain. Plus, Rafi said. Call it a choir. Virescopes shivered. Targets split and joined. Gunners cursed. Missiles hunted ghosts and lost lock. Admiral Shrix raised his hand. Switch to phase sweep, he said. Cut the lies. His flagship shifted. New sensors clicked on. The fog trick thinned. The ghosts dimmed. Kettle counted. We have 2 minutes before they see us true. Good, Captain Park said. Open all channels. Her voice went across the sector. Calm, clear. Talk while we drink. Or chase shadows and hit friends. On the stations, dock workers watched small screens. Guards watched. A few Veer watched with the sound low. Tesh watched with a paper cup in both hands. The first mine woke. It turned toward the morning star. Rafi flipped a small brass lever. A short steam burst nudged the ship 1 meter left. The mine missed by 1 meter right. Kettle added, 1 minute, 40 seconds. Captain Park looked at a tiny light by her chair. It was green. It meant a door far away had opened. Tesh had opened it. She stood in a maintenance bay with 3 other workers. All wore gray. All held simple tools. She tapped a code with 2 fingers. A service lock to the Veer flagship slid aside. A small tug pushed a human boarding tube across the gap. Cup down, she whispered to herself. Hand steady, the tube latched. The door opened. 4 humans and 2 aliens in work suits slipped through. They moved low. They moved quiet. Rafi led them. He carried a pressure pot and a coil of cable in a cloth bag. The first Vire guard smelled the air before he saw them. The scent was bitter and warm. His mask tried to filter it. The filter spiked. He lifted a hand. Quantum! A net charge hummed. He fell. They crossed a narrow hall. Pipes above. Vibrations underfoot. Rafi set the pressure pot under a vent and cracked it open. Coffee vapor crawled along the ceiling like a thin river. It hides our heat, he said. And it makes them blink, Kettle whispered in their ears. Guide you left, then up 1 deck. Shiver protocol likely on the bridge. They will try to vent you into space. They climbed. A second guard turned and saw 5 of them when there were 6. His sight bloomed. He fired at the wrong wall. He hit a door. The door locked open. The team slid through. Kettle said, 1 minute. On the flagship bridge, Admiral Shrix stood tall. He watched the morning star thread the kill box. He did not like the way it moved. It moved like a needle. It sowed doubt. Prepare shiver, he said. On my mark. Captain Park and her small second team reached the last door. Rafi placed the coil of cable on the floor. He pulled 1 wire and touched it to the panel. Kettle counted down. 5, 4, 3. The door slid. The bridge opened like a cold mouth. Captain Park walked in first with a cup in her hand. She set it on the command rail. She did not look at Shrix yet. She looked at the stars. Kettle spoke into the open air. Leadership net locked. All mics live. A tiny red light blinked on every Veer console. No one there noticed at first. Outside, the whole sector heard the bridge. Admiral Shrix turned. He saw the cup. He bared his teeth. "Vents now!" The floor roared. Air rushed for the ceiling grates. Papers flew. A junior officer grabbed a rail and screamed. 2 guards slid across the deck. Captain Park did not move. She had a harness line on her waist. Her boots were maglocked. She raised her free hand and pointed at one black grate. Raffi already stood under it. He held the pressure pot like a small heart. He twisted the lid. Steam shot up and fogged the vent sensor. The grate choked. The rush slowed. Kettle finished the rest. "Override 12, 16, 19. Sealed. Air returned. The cup did not spill. Across the sector, everyone heard Admiral Shrix shout, "Shoot the human ship now!" A gunner on a distant cruiser stared at his screen. He had a cup of human drink on his console. It kept his hands calm. He did not fire. On Dawn Gate, clamps refused to open for Veer ships. Tesh had set them to safe. She smiled and told a supervisor, "We follow station code. Safety first." The supervisor could not argue on an open channel with thousands listening. Kettle pushed one more packet into the stream. It showed the envoy's trap smile from the parley. It showed the ban order on coffee. It showed a worker with gray hands, shaking, then steady after one sip. The sector did not like the smile. It did not like the ban. It liked steady hands. Admiral Shrix saw the delay and knew what it meant. His power was leaking out of him, one cup at a time. He drew a blade and stepped toward Captain Park. She lifted her cup and took her first sip of the day. "Coffee first," she said. He swung. A Marine's net broke his step. The blade clanged. Raffi kicked it away. 2 guards rushed. The human team moved like shadows. 3 hits. 4. The fight was short and clean. Kettle spoke softly. "Flagship command is yours if you want it." Captain Park looked at Shrix. He knelt in a cable loop, wrists bound. He breathed hard. He watched the cup as if it were a weapon. "It is not poison," she told him. "It is a ritual. We calm the mind. We see the line. We hold the line." She tapped a key on the rail. Her voice went to every ship, every station, every dock. "Stand down," she said. "No more bans. No more traps. Work with us, or waste fire on fog." Silence held for one long breath. Then clamps stayed shut. Guns stayed cold. Engines went to idle. On small screens, workers in many colors lifted small cups. A few Veer did too. They looked unsure, then sure. Admiral Shrix tried one last command. "Ramming speed." No one moved. Kettle's tone warmed by 1 degree. "Sector confirms." "Stand down accepted." Captain Park lifted the cup and set it in front of Shrix. "Try it," she said. Small sip. He stared. He did not drink. He could not. That was fine. The war was already ending. The morning star turned slow to face the dawn gate. The false sunrise faded. Real light touched the hull. Raffi leaned on the rail and looked out. He smiled, tired and full. Tesh stood by a window on the station. She held her paper cup and watched the flagship drift. She whispered, "We are awake." The narrator, if the ship had one, would say the last line. But the bridge was quiet, so the thought hung by itself. They did not conquer with fire. They conquered with a cup, a plan, and a steady hand.